Hi, my name is Erica Casada York. I am a certified nurse midwife at Professional Gynecological Services here in Brooklyn. Today I want to talk to you all about herpes. So a lot of people are very concerned about herpes, but there's a lot of misinformation. And I think that a lot of what we were taught in high school kind of misses the point and sows a lot of fear. So I want to kind of clear the air about this very, 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 very common virus. You might have been taught in school that there is oral herpes or cold sores. This is very common. Probably you've had one in your life, or you've seen somebody with a cold sore on or near their lips, right outside their lips, sometimes inside their mouth. Very, 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 very common. More than 95% of people have herpes somewhere on or near their mouth. Usually we catch this form of herpes in childhood from our parents kissing us, and they caught it when they were children from their parents kissing them, and on until the dawn of time. Oral herpes is certainly annoying and uncomfortable. If you've ever had a cold sore, you know that it's very painful when it breaks out, but it goes away on its own. Doesn't really cause any major problems unless you are immunocompromised in some way. We were also taught in high school that genital herpes, which sometimes can be on or near or inside the genitals. We also call it genital herpes when it's on or inside or near the anus, or anywhere in what I tend to call the underwear area. So it could be in like the folds of the groin, it could be closer to the pubic bone, it could be on the inner thigh, it could be sort of in the crack between the buttocks. Anywhere like this, we're going to just go ahead and call it genital herpes, even if it's not technically on your genitals. And you were probably taught in high school that genital herpes is very scary. It's so horrible, there's no cure for it, you're dirty forever, etc. Now, there is no actual difference between oral herpes and genital herpes except where they are on your body. There are two different herpes viruses that cause these kinds of sores: herpes simplex virus 1 and herpes simplex virus 2, HSV1 and HSV2. You might have been taught that HSV1 is on your face and HSV2 is downtown, but this ignores the fact that people like to put their mouths on other people's genitals and vice versa. So you can have one or two in your mouth, you can have one or two near your genitals. Unfortunately, there is not actually a screening test for herpes. I can screen you and find out if you have gonorrhea. I can screen you and find out if you have hepatitis B. I cannot screen you to find out if you have herpes. What this means is I can only test you if you are symptomatic. If you have a sore somewhere on your body, I can test that sore and get a diagnosis. You may have been screened for herpes before. It was probably a blood test, and that test doesn't tell me if you actually have HSV1 or HSV2. It tells me if your immune system knows what herpes 1 and herpes 2 are. So this only tells me if you have been exposed to herpes in the past. It does not tell me where on your body you might have been exposed, and it does not tell me if you actually contracted that herpes virus and have it in your body. It only tells me that your immune system has met this virus before in the past. Let's say that I do, in fact, diagnose you with herpes somewhere in, on, or near your genitals. A lot of people are very, very, very upset with this diagnosis, and I completely understand that because it is a sexually transmitted infection. We are taught since puberty that this is a terrible thing to happen. We are taught since puberty that herpes is especially bad because there's no cure for it. However, I would invite you to kind of reframe your thoughts about herpes. Before the middle of the 20th century, herpes was thought of as just a normal infection that people lived with. Some people had it, some people didn't. It was not thought to actually cause any problems. In the middle of the 20th century, gynecology, medicine in general, started discussing this in terms of a sexually transmitted infection as an argument against non-monogamy, against having more than one sexual partner in your life. It was proof that people were having sex with too many people. And so this is why you had this sex ed of herpes is really bad and you really need to avoid it. Herpes is very uncomfortable, and I truly hope that you don't get any outbreaks because they're very painful and they're very uncomfortable. However, clinically speaking, it's not actually very dangerous. Gonorrhea can put you in the ICU. Chlamydia can make you sterile. HIV will kill you. Syphilis will make you crazy and then kill you. Herpes won't actually do anything to you except occasionally come back and cause you some pain. I spend a lot of time kind of talking with people. I completely understand why it can be a very upsetting diagnosis, especially when you know that there's technically no cure, it's going to be with you for a long time, but it doesn't actually cause these clinical consequences, and therefore we just want to help you manage it, okay? We want to help you be in less pain, we want to help you have fewer outbreaks, okay? If you are with a partner who does not have genital herpes, we would like you to avoid passing it to them so that they don't have to have the pain from the outbreaks. But it's not the same importance of public health as these other sexually transmitted infections can be. The only exception to this is pregnancy. We care about herpes in pregnancy because if the baby is exposed to the herpes virus through an active sore during the moment of delivery, it can in fact be very dangerous to the baby. If you have a history of genital herpes at any point in your life, please share that with your OB provider. The standard of care is that we give you medication to prevent an outbreak about a month before your due date, so that when you go into labor, when you go in to have the baby, that there will not be an active sore at that time, and that you will be able to have the option of the vaginal delivery. Aside from this, and again, setting aside situations with an extreme immunocompromise such as HIV, there really is not a need to worry in a day-to-day life about herpes. What I would recommend everybody do to keep themselves safe and their partners safe. Safer sex is always a good idea. Being honest and open with your partners, being honest and open with your healthcare providers. This is stuff that we want to help you out with. If you have any questions about any of this, if you have a history of herpes and you want better treatment, if you suspect that you might have herpes, if you've been told in the past that you screened positive through a blood test and you don't understand it, anything like that, I would love to take some time to talk with you. We would love to see you here, possibly for testing, possibly for treatment. We're happy to talk with partners, etc. You can always make an appointment with us. If this video was helpful to you in any way, please share it, friends, family, social media, etc. I hope this helped. I'm always delighted to talk about anything at all, and thank you so much for tuning in.